Hi, Yalg here, and welcome to part 2 of our AI platform battle arena build video. As you can see, we've got all the arena in place if you're following on from part 1, and we're just left with a few sort of aesthetics to put into place: floors, walls, and a couple of other bits, and a sky dome, and then we'll be moving on to the mechanics. So without further ado, let's move on to the actual building part, and I'm going to jump straight into Spark mode, I think, 'cause it's easier and more quiet to navigate around. And I'm going to take one of these doorways because I haven't taken one for myself on this side where I'm going to launch everything as yet. And I might cover a couple of little bits from the first video simply because I've just loaded this up again and I'm going to have to reset certain bits. So we go into Spark mode, onto the palette, and I'm just going to select, oh, it's straight there, the Death Star terrain, and I'm going to set the theme on that and just see if it's in place. Yep, I'm quite happy with where that is. And another thing I'm going to do while I'm here is, as you can see, the infinity pad where you spawn into the actual arena excuse me, is facing into the clouds. So I want it facing the arena. I'm just going to spin it round there, and then when we spawn into the arena, I might put it forward a little bit as well. We're going to have a nice view of the arena and not clouds. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to jump into the toy store, toy box, whatever you call it, and I'm looking for the basic blocks, which I hope are somewhere around here. There we go. And we're going to put the roofs on. So for this, I like to use the flat piece and the large, it's essentially called the large floor. 7 of those for the roofs. And I think I'm going to kind of overlap it a little bit because I like how it looks there. So we'll just go around and do all 7 of those in the same position. Just check they're in the center. And we're going to colorize these. We'll end up turning them to the Death Star shiny glazed effect, which sort of gives a final touch to the arena. One last one here. And I think while I've got the piece to hand, I'll actually do the floor. So I'm going to line this up. I'll just make sure I'm lining it up with the middle piece so that the guys and the AI can run straight in. There's no problems. And I think with these large floor pieces, because of the positioning of the arena, hopefully it should sit perfectly. Good, it does. So it's 3 wide. And we can just follow this all the way down. Because they're large and the arena's not super huge, it shouldn't be too many of them. But I'll speed this a little bit up for you. And here we go, just the last 3 now. And I will be putting barriers at the end of these because, as I say, I'm going to tweak the arena a little bit from the original, and I kind of want to stop the guys falling off and grenades and so forth. Right, so that's all the floors and all the roofs. Now we need to put the walls into place, and for this I'm going to use the large block wall. Now, if you're following this build exactly and you're going to be putting the lighting on as well, there's a couple of things worth bearing in mind here. These blocks need to be the right way round. And we'll just run a little tester here. We'll put a few on the side. And then what I'm going to do is spin it round, because as you can see, it's a little bit of different positioning there. So I'm then going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to try desperately to get them in the exact same position. What we might find in a second is that we're going to need to spin these round. So if I can find it, build set 5. I'm just going to scan over to the actual light here, and I want to make sure, which it doesn't look like I can. As you can see, I can't put it right up against the wall, so I'm going to need to spin those wall pieces round, and I'll check the other side because I'm assuming that's going to be exactly the same. Yes, it is. Just things worth bearing in mind. If you want to put the aesthetics in these light pieces on and you want it to look right, you don't really want them hanging away from the wall. Just make sure when you put these wall pieces into position that they're the right way around. So we'll just spin that one round and we'll just show you. It just gives you that little bit extra. And I'll put another one into place behind. And we'll take out the one that's in front, if I can. Pretty close. We'll just grab that light again. There it is. And I'll just show you. Now it'll fit absolutely perfectly into position. So I need to do them all that way around, and then obviously when I come over the other side I'm going to need to spin the wall block round so I can get them into position perfectly over this side. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go around tediously, if you like, and put all the wall pieces into place, and I'll see you when that's all done. So that's it, guys. There's all the walls and floors and roofs in place, and as you can tell, I really haven't put much in terms of walls into place. It really is, you know, less is more. As you can see on the right hand side where sort of the memory meter is on the screen at the minute, the CPU is about halfway up, so it's already quite full, and we really are trying to just concentrate on the amount of enemies we can get into the arena and not about the way it looks so much. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the lights into position now. I'm just going to do a couple of these. I'm not going to go too mad. I like my symmetry, so I'll put the same on the other side. Spin it round and go and do it the other side while we're at it. And I might struggle to get a couple of smaller ones in, actually, because I don't think I'll put much wall at the bottom there, but nevertheless not too much of a problem. Oh, perfect fit. What do I know? I'm just building the thing. There we go. So we'll do the other side quickly. If we can zoom over under the platforms. Just adds to the effect of it looking a bit more Star Warsy. So now I'm going to actually colorize all the walls and floor, and I'm going to palette mode here, and I'm just going to go over and select the Death Star piece, which if you're going left is the second black one that you come across. There it is, the Death Star tile. So we'll apply, we'll set theme, and we'll theme all, and this normally takes a few seconds to kick into effect. There are quite a few pieces it's going to colorize. It's pretty cool as it goes. And boom, pretty quick actually, not too bad. And we'll just check. There's no gaps, nothing missing. Looks okay. You know, sort of guide, like I keep saying, guys, if you want to put a bit more in, it's entirely your call. Personally, I think that's about spot on. So I think the last thing to do now is to put the barriers into place. And the ones I like to use are actually in group 7. I mean, again, guys, you know, if you've not got this piece, then there are quite a few other pieces that you can use. It's the Clin railing. It comes in 4 different sizes. I think there's a bit of a corner piece to it as well if you wanted it. But I'm essentially going to use mostly this long one. And as I said, I'm redesigning. So I'm going to cover the gaps along the back of the actual floor platform. I'll put 3 on the other side as well to make it the same and fair. And I'll put some at the top here. I will put them all the way down one side. I actually, in a way, kind of like the idea that they can fall off or at least be blasted off. I mean, it is a platform battle arena in space. Or sort of in space, if you know what I mean. And I kind of like the idea that they can every now and again fall off. Not all the time, it's a bit much. So as I said, you know, your personal preference. You could make these smaller with little gaps if you wanted to do that. But what I do like to do here is put a few of these little thin ones in place. The reason being, you know, the AI on these guys is okay. It's not amazing, but it's not super poor. But if I put a couple of these into position, it almost seems as if they realise they can't shoot through it, and they'll sort of duck behind it or move out the way of it. So I'm just going to put one there, and I'm going to try and put one down here somewhere. Yes, okay, it will let me. It's not exactly in the arena. I think I'll put that one there. And I'll try and put one up here somewhere. I might spin this round. I think I'll put that pretty much in the same spot. It's a little bit over. But I'll make it symmetrical as always. You know, fair is fair. If we're going to do one thing for one side, we should do it for the other. Symmetry is the key. If we want to get these, you know, evenly matched battles, it's no point in putting huge obstacles on one side and nothing on the other. We want to make it the same. So that's it. I think just take another quick look. My side's all done. The barriers are all done. That really is it, guys. We are built. So the next thing to do is actually put the mechanics into place. So I think the best point to start is probably with the locator, which is going to be in the creativity toys. And essentially what we're going to be doing here, most of the stuff we're doing from here on in, we're doing 6 times over. So we'll start at the first point. And this is where the enemies are actually going to spawn. So what I'm going to do before I put that locator into position, I'm just going to check that I can get my enemy trail guide exactly where the locator is going to go. In fact, I think we'll do the enemy trail guide first, because then we know for sure. Now what these do is the enemy's going to spawn on this exact point, and instead of just sort of mulling around in a circle, not wondering where to go, these arrows are actually going to point them in the direction we want them to go, and that's in and towards the middle of the arena. So we'll put 6 of these into position, 1 in each area where the enemy's going to spawn. And as you see, I don't need to sort of move it left and right. They're going perfectly into position. We'll jump over to the other side, and obviously, oh goodness, didn't really want to move the line, but there we go. We'll spin it round, so these guys will be running into the arena that way, as you can see with the arrow, just perfectly in the middle. There's no point putting them to one side or anything, you know, give them more of a chance of getting in. So that's the enemy trail guide in place. The next thing to do is the locator. Now, you can see from the picture it's got a little sort of blue point on one corner. Ignore that. That means nothing, which is why we're using the enemy trail guide. So we'll just put the 6 of these into position. It's supposed at that point, if you spin it round, will be the direction that the enemy spawns and walks once they've spawned, but it just doesn't work. It's an inherent problem with all 3 Disney Infinities. I've tried all of them, and the enemies will just spawn and walk the way that your toy box is facing. So my toy box is facing that way, they'll all walk that way. But because we use the enemy trail guide, we can defeat that, and we can get them to walk the way we want them to walk. So that's it. Enemy trail guides and locators into position. Next thing we're going to need is, I think it's the enemy wave generator. Yep. So we'll put these all into position as well. Now, I'm going to hide these out of the way. There's no point. We don't need to see them. They're not part of the actual battle. It's just the mechanics. So, obviously, we're going to use 3. And so we can tell where we're going and what we're doing. We'll put them into position, if you like. So, 1 for the left side, 1 for the middle, 1 for the right. Spin them round. Same for the other side. Guess I could move that a little bit more up. And what we're going to need to do here is link them up to the locator. So, as I said before, you know, everything we're doing at this point, we're doing 6 times over. So we'll go into the settings and we'll go down to new locator location. And we'll link it up to the first locator, connect, and as you can see, spawn location. There's a line, shows you where it's going to, which is always pretty cool. You can't really see it through the wall, but we'll do the next one. New locator connection. And we'll link it up to the middle, connect, spawn location. There you go, you can see the line just cutting through. Well, it's gone now. There we go, you can see the line, it's just cutting through the wall and around there. Goes all the way over to the actual enemy wave generator. And we'll do the third one, I'll just show you. And then I'll skip. So, new locator connection. And the final locator, which is going to be the one on the far side. We'll connect it up, spawn location. There we go. So that's those three for those side linked up. What I'll do, I'll just link the other three up, and then I'll see you in a second. Okay, so that's all 6 of the enemy wave generators linked up. I'll just try and show you. Yep, they're all got lines. As you can see, they're linked up as well. And what I'm going to do, I should have done it before really, but I'm just going to grab another one of these enemy trail guides. Because I'm going to go a bit crazy with these. We essentially want to make sure that all the enemies are running into the arenas as they should be. So what I'm going to do is just put another 3 on each platform. You know, put as many as you want. It doesn't really matter. They will only run so far. So they will probably only run to about this point. Which, if you wanted them to run further, you'd need to put another one in so they keep running in a greater distance. But it works perfectly for the shape and the layout of this arena, because one will take them, as I say, to about this point. At that point, they'll see the enemy. So it works perfectly. Just having that one, and then putting sort of 3 at the back, just in case one slips through the net. And these 3 will help to sort of push those stragglers back into the arena. So there we go. That is it. We are built. We are ready to go. Just check I put those in the right. Yep, did put them in the right direction. So that's it. We're ready, guys. We're ready for a test run. So now it's all about the settings on the enemy wave generator. Now, if you've not used these things before, I'm just going to come out of Spark mode actually, because it's a little bit easier with the one for this one. I'll go through these a couple of times. That one's going to be linking, as you know, to the far end one. I mean, we're going to have it all the same for this tester battle. The choice is yours when you set these up. We're built now, so, you know, do your thing. But we're going to go into the settings on the first enemy wave generator. We'll just go down to the configure wave. This is where you're going to be selecting the enemies you want to use. As you can see, there are an absolute ton of them. I think, just for the purpose of this, I have absolutely no idea how this is going to pan out. I'm going to use the B1 battle droids. So, now, thing worth bearing in mind, if I can speak, as we mentioned before, is the memory. We've tried to build this arena a bit small so we can put more enemies in. I'm running this on a PS4. I find I can just about get away with 60 enemies in the arena. But if you want it to run perfectly, I'm probably going to keep it to about 48 or around the 50 mark. If you're running it on an Xbox 360 or a PS3, I'd advise you try and keep the numbers to about 30 or 40 in total. So 5 coming out of each door or something. But for this, we'll set it up at 8. So that's the enemy chosen. And we're just going to go down to the properties, and we're going to set the properties up. Now, we don't want to generate it at a random locator because we've just linked it up to a particular locator. Countdown enabled and never used. Generation delay, I always put to 0, just so all the guys spawn straight off the bat. Disable generation effects, I turn on. And hold AI until all generated, I kind of leave that off. So they just kind of keep running in. But the most important part of this one is the team. You must select a team. We'll put the droids on the blue team. And that's it. That's the settings for the enemy wave generator. Now we're just going to go along and do the same for the others. So I'll just show you the second one. Again, down to the configure wave. We'll choose the same enemy. the B1 battle droid. We'll put another 8 in. We'll come out of that and we'll go down to the properties, and if we can remember how I set it up, we'll 0 that, and we'll turn off the generation effects, and we'll put them again on the blue team. So essentially what we're going to have is the right hand side is blue and the left hand side is another colour, say purple or green. So I'll just skip over, I'll miss this one out, I will fill it in a second, but I'll just jump over to the other side and we'll select what we're going to do over here, just to run through it one final time if you've never used these things. So it's down to the configure wave, select our enemy, and we've got droids, so let's go, oh I can't resist it, let's go long range stormtroopers. And again, we'll keep the numbers the same. I personally like an evenly matched battle. Normally end up tweaking it after a few rounds to get it even. So we'll have 8 of those. And we'll go down to the properties. We'll set it up again the same. Generation delay 0. And disable generation effects. Down to the team. Choose a colour. I think I'm going to go green for these guys. And that's it. So what I'm going to do is just do the same for these two. For stormtroopers, and obviously I'm going to put more droids on that side, and we'll see once I've set it up. So that's it guys, all the enemy wave generators are set with the enemies, and there's one absolutely crucial thing that I forgot to put into place, and that's a button that links them all up so we can actually kick the thing into action. Also, we've not put the Sky Dome in yet, so let's do those two things now. We'll jump back into the toy box, and I think it's going to be, well, we'll do the button first. Again, you know, as with the first or the last build video that I did, choice is yours. You know, use a button, target, a few other things you can use. There's the, if I can pan over to it, the ability terminal, which is a pretty cool looking one. But we'll just use the button for this one. It's simple enough, so we'll just pop one into place. We'll jump into spark mode, and we'll go into the settings, and we need to create a new logic connection when it's pressed to do something. And what we want it to do is generate a wave. So that's the first one. We're gonna have to link it up to all 6, so I'll just go through it another couple of times to show you. Into the settings of the button, new logic connection when it's pressed. Come over to the enemy wave generator and generate a wave. I'm going to do the same for the other side. Obviously I'll do it for all 6 guys, but I won't go through it all here. It's just the same thing. Once it's pressed, you know, generate a wave. So that's it. As you can see, all 6 of the enemy wave generators are now linked up to a button, or the button. So we'll just jump out of spark mode, and I'm just going to go down to instant fun if I can find it somewhere around here for the final piece, which is going to be the Sky Dome. Yep, so it doesn't matter where you're going to put this, we're just going to use it and then we're going to delete it. I'll go into spark mode, I'll go to the properties and choose your sky, you know, whatever you want to choose. Personally, I'm looking for the Nowhere Sky, if I can remember what it's called. I think it might be just Galactic Prison. There we go. Which I think gives this actual arena quite a nice effect. So we'll come back on that, come out. I'm going to delete it now because, as I said, we don't need it. We'll come out of spark mode, and literally we are good to go. So we'll turn ourselves invisible. Everything's set. We'll take the wand off because we don't need to see those bits. I'm going to use my baseball shooting gun. No, I'm not. I'm going to use my invisibility device. And this is it, guys. So just as I'm hitting the button, and hopefully it's all going to work. In come the droids. In come the stormtroopers. And hopefully away go the blasters. And there we have it, guys. The platform battle arena. AI battle arena in full effect. As I say, you can tweak it a little bit, put some more numbers in, do what you want to do, guys, but there's a general idea and a general guide on how you can build it and put it together. I do hope this video has been helpful for you. I know I promised to put this build up quite some time ago, but we finally got there. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was easy enough to follow. As always, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button and give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out, and we really appreciate it a lot. And if this is the first video from my channel you've stumbled across, then come check out my channel. We update regularly. And as always, thanks for watching. We do hope to see you in the next. And bye for now.